Hey Sketch, what do you think makes a great anime mom?
Being not dead.
That is a pretty good criteria.
A lot of them fail that. I'm not sure if you realize that.
Okay, so outside of that, what makes a good alive anime mom?
Being not a crap person.
Right, and do you think healing meets those criteria?
Okay, in a serious note, Healing is a very caring and kind person who tries to who does her best to try and understand her sons, Boji especially. She tries to be a good mother for Boji, and tries to
Daida.
and Daida.
And these actions are so overwhelming, so overcoming, that even Dorshi, who at first thinks he's being demoted to protecting her, takes up the mantle and responsibility to go, hey, this person's a great person. I want to be her guard.
And in this next scene, we'll see how far he's willing to go to protect Healing.
もちろん私はあなたを守れますよ
And that's another amazing scene where you see when the impact hits, the whole screen reverberates.
Yeah, it's a really nice zoom in frame into it's a really nice zoom in transition into an impact frame where Dorshi blocks both of the lines, or chimeras I guess we're calling them.
We really need a Ranking of Kings 4D movie. I think it'd be really cool to have, like, the seats shake on the impact, because you already visually see it.
Yeah.
Now if you could also feel it, it'd be like the best experience.
Yeah. As this fight goes on, we find out that Dorshi is apparently wearing armor under those clothes after he gets attacked by the third one.
Yeah.
And then he has a little bit of a Rock Lee moment.
He hulks out, armor pops off flying, hits the ground, and he becomes literally, I already said the Hulk, but but he becomes the Hulk in a sense, and like is super buff, ready to take him on, and he takes him on 3v1. And for reference, Apis, the new spear fighter that took Dorshi's spot, could barely fight too.
Yeah, and he does that with gauntlets only. He drops his shields and he wins.
He's like, you want to catch these hands, 1-2 punch real quick.
I mean, more of a suplex, but sure.
Great part is, after this scene ends, we see
the mirror says the assassination field because she can no longer sense the lines.
Yeah, the scene I was going to talk about is the next morning. We'll come back to that scene in a second.
Okay.
But the next morning, Healing, not only being a great mom, is a great person, in that you can see that their relationship is more of a give and take than other relationships we've seen in anime. Healing heals him up, and he's like, I'm sorry for not being up and ready to go. And she's like, well, you protected me. What else were you gonna do?
Yeah.
You did your job.
Did his job, and she healed him right back up. Even though we know that Healing exhausts herself pretty heavily using her magic.
They have a good dichotomy to them. They're very good foils to each other, where Healing is quick to anger, very open, very upfront. Dorsey's a little bit introverted. He keeps to himself, keeps his idea to himself until he knows for sure, right? Where Healing is ready to jump to conclusions, Dorsey is ready to stand there
and wait.
And they very well counterbalance each other. Right? But going back, I think there was an interesting scene we saw, and we get to see a look into what Miranjo's feeling and what her ultimate goal is in this anime, or in this kingdom with King Boss. It seems like she's in a love triangle, love square in a sense, because you had Boss's first wife, then you had Healing, his second wife, and Miranjo's is there.
ボス様、私はとても幸せです。やっと。
So despite only being in puppet form, she's still very excited about being by Boss's side, getting to dance with him. That level of closeness that they didn't have before.
You know what? I think Miranjo the Mirror, I'm pretty sure that's the person that Boss loves this entire time, and maybe the other two wives were more or less just a means to an end. I mean, he did seek out his first wife because he needed a family to gain more strength.
But then why go seek out Healing?
Good point.
I think their relationship is a little bit more different, and I'm not saying it's one-sided, but I think Miranjo does have this one-sidedness to her towards Boss.
Okay.
Where Boss doesn't seem to have that same one-sidedness. He actively seems to be cheering for her plans to fail. She's going to the underworld to get more creatures. He told Damas to destroy the underworld door.
Yeah.
She seems to have a connection to the underworld, right? She says she's gonna use these chimeras to go kill Healing. He tells Dorshi about the attack ahead of time. That way he's prepared. They could have taken her by surprise.
Yeah. Oh, and I almost forgot one last thing. I think after Miranjo goes into the underworld, he straight up tells Dorshi to take healing and get out of the kingdom before the next assassination attempt.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen soon, but we don't know when it's gonna happen. And his whole plan is just, hey, wait it out. We'll see what happens. And then we see a little flash of Boji. Before all that happens, see a scene with Daida. And I think this is the most impactful scene of the episode. In this episode. Let's go ahead and watch that scene.
歩いて出られない
It really went out of its way to steal all the animators from Mob Psycho 100 to make that scene.
Yeah.
But since the scene is so eerie and not normal to how this anime has been animating, it really conveys Daida's losing his mind inside his mind.
He's losing his mind while traveling the infinite void, very fruitlessly trying to find a way out when there really is not one.
But it's not even an infinite void.
Oh, right.
Because he hits walls.
Yeah.
It's just, he goes in every direction and hits walls without knowing that there's walls there. This brings us to the next scene with Daida and his mom. Despite no one else knowing he's there, she can still hear him. She can still reach out to him.
どこなのダイダダイダダイダ
Those are the walls I was talking about. I want to talk about the scene's choreography. She looks left, he's running right. They're right next to each other, but not next to each other at all.
Very close and cut off at the exact same time.
What I love about healing is that she can connect with her children so strongly that even though there are walls unsurmountable by others, no one else in that room heard him.
She even orders Dorsh to go save Daida, but he straight up says, I can't hear him.
This same scenario has already played out before for her when she reached out to Boji. Because she has the ability to overcome these walls. And I think that's what makes her a great mother, At the end of the episode, Healing wants to save Daida. She promises to save Daida. Dorsey, being the calm, reasonable person, has made the decision that right now is not the time.
He's just gonna leave.
It's the only decision they can make.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Please hit that subscribe button. Have a good day.
Laters.